Now, once you have that coherence, you can do whatever you're going to do. You can do that. I'm a martial artist. You can do it before your martial arts. I'm not a competitive runner, but I still run at times. And you will optimize your running.
Way of Will John.
In the presence of heart-brain coherence, it opens the door to other extraordinary human potentials that all contribute to athletic performance. Super memory, super learning, super recall. We begin to think and respond. Our reflexes are optimized in the presence of this heart-brain coherence. Our immune system is optimized. Our longevity enzymes are optimized, all in the presence of this coherence. So for me, there are other things that we can do, but I think, if somebody dropped me onto a football field and said, Greg, you got 5 minutes to tell these people how to become the best version of themselves for the performance that they're expected to do, and then you're out of here in 5 minutes, I would begin with this fundamental experience of coherence, because it opens the door. Once that coherence is established, there are passive benefits and there are active benefits. So passive benefits, just by creating that coherence, you've already got a stronger immune system. You've already awakened longevity enzymes. You've already created greater resilience, physiological resilience to the stress of life. Just by doing what you're doing passively. Now, actively, once you are in that state, and some people may not be interested in this, but once you're in that state of coherence, that's where you open the door to deep states of intuition, affirmations, prayer. And this is where the spiritual and religious traditions come in. That is where you open the door to, this is where the intelligence agencies like the NSA are interested in this. You open the door to deep states of intuition and Jason Bourne kind of stuff. Like you walk into a room and in 1/100th of a second, your eyes have seen everything in the room. The question is, can you recall from your brain what your eyes have seen? Does your brain know how many electrical outlets are in the room, how many windows are in the room, how many light fixtures are in the room, how many paintings, and what is the subject of the painting that's on the wall? Well, the answer is yes, because your eyes saw it. The question is, can you create that recall? And with practice in this state of coherence, as we do in some of our courses, these are now active benefits. You have to engage the coherence to achieve these. And some people aren't interested in that. So just for pure optimization of athletic performance, 3 minutes of heart-brain coherence, and then you go do what you're going to do. And this is, there are all kinds of testimonies of athletes, and all across from professional baseball, football. We've had conversation with some of the professional ball teams here in the U.S. Now, I want to be very honest and fair about this. The pioneering research institute who has brought so much of this forward is in Northern California. It's an organization called the Institute of Heart Math, HEARTMATH. It's all one word. They have a website, heartmath.org. And I invite our listeners, you can go and look at the research papers. You can get as deep as you want into the science. It's some pretty heady stuff. You can see the applications, and the papers have been written about physiology and about athletic performance and resilience in general. I'm not their employee. I have worked with them almost since their inception in 1991. I've toured with them. We do fundraising, we do webinars, we become good friends, but I'm not their employee. But I want to honor the work that they have done to make these ideas accessible to the everyday person so that we can be the best version of ourselves in whatever we choose to apply that to, whether it's in business, or it's in academia, or it's in competition, or it's athletic, or it's our relationships, or just being healthy. just being healthy. So we covered a lot of ground in a short period of time, and I just want to see.
What I was going to say is, well, I was going to say a lot, obviously, but what shocks me is I was expecting you to say lifelong practice, 6 weeks to 30 days, like 3 minutes, only 3 minutes.
Here's the thing. It's like a muscle, and the more you use it, first of all, it will become almost second nature. You won't have to think about it much. I've done coherence pretty much at least once a day, every day since I learned about 1991. At the very least, I do it at bedtime, because I think if you go into a deep regenerative sleep in the presence of coherence, you stack the deck in your favor. But also, I've learned if you're going to have a very difficult phone call during COVID, for example, in the lockdowns, I could not be present to honor my contractual obligations for producers, and it was hard on the producers financially. And I had very difficult phone calls, and before I went into those phone calls, I would create that coherence. I go into my office, close the door. 3 minutes is a minimum, and here's why I say 3 minutes. What the science shows is that after 3 minutes of good coherence, I mean really real good coherence, 3 minutes, the effects last up to 6 hours after those 3 minutes. Among those effects, first of all, the DHEA level of the human body. DHEA is a precursor to every hormone in the body, including testosterone for performance, progesterone, estrogen. The DHEA levels will increase 100% in the body. No change in diet, no supplements, because this is our internal medicine cabinet. This is what we're doing. After 3 minutes, and the cortisol levels, the stress hormones, will decrease by about 23% during that same 3 minutes. And those effects will continue. So it optimizes, the physiology for sleep. If you're going to have a difficult conversation with your partner that you share your life with, or a business partner, here's what happens. And this is getting into some of the psychology of coherence. When you create heart-brain coherence, you begin to think literally from the neural network in the heart. Here's why that's important. The neural network in the brain is based on the left brain and the right brain. That's polarity. Left brain and right brain is the ego. You're always going to have good and bad and right and wrong and success and failure, worthy, not worthy, which are good sometimes. But when you create the coherence before a difficult conversation, here's what happens, Will, and this is so powerful, is that you're not in that ego loop. So you're going to hear from the heart. The heart's not a polarity organ like the brain is. So that means you can take criticism better without a knee-jerk response and saying something you wish you hadn't said, or escalating a heated situation that's already going to be heated anyway. This allows you, doesn't affect, I mean, you're not making anybody else do anything, but you are choosing how you respond, and your response will influence how other people will respond. I was the youngest in the corporate boardroom. I was the first technical operations manager at Cisco Systems in Palo Alto, California, when Cisco was just beginning. I was youngest in the boardroom. And when I had an idea, and I knew that idea was going to get shot down, this was right in the early 90s, right when HeartMath folks were sharing information. I would use this technique, and I would still take the hits. But this is one of those things, you just have to experience it. Words, I can describe it, but words will fail. You have to experience it, because you're still taking the hits. You're still hearing the criticism, but it feels different. It means something different, and you can allow for it. And you're not just manning up and putting on a facade. It's not inciting the anger. You're not stuffing the anger because you're hearing it differently. It empowers you or me or whoever it is to listen to the other person in a really healthy way. And it really helps to diffuse for leaders. And if you're talking about athletic performance, everyone in that team is a leader in their own specialty.